A very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the time that you are watching from PsychoHub, the Institute of Psychology and Wellness, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. In the last video, we solved the first 20 questions. Now we'll be moving on to the next 20 or 25 questions of this series. This is the part 2 of solving MPhil questions. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. So, we're starting with question number 21, which is stating that which Microsoft Excel feature is commonly used for tabulating data. Data tabulation के लिए और statistical calculations के लिए what do we actually use in Excel? Pivot table, they are very powerful Excel tools. They are specifically designed for summarizing, analyzing, exploring, and presenting summary data from large data sets. Alright, whereas formulas, charts and formulas, they are also used, but pivot tables, they are the most, they are the, you know, they are the feature that is most synonymous with data tabulation and quick statistical summaries. Alright, आप formulas में formula enter करते हो, charts से you can get bar graphs or pie charts. Alright, moving on to the next questions. In MS Excel, which function is commonly used to calculate the average of range numbers? अगर हम average की बात करें, so we'll be using the formula average only. Maximum to find the highest value, minimum to find the lowest value, and sum to add up the observations or the values. As you can see, the questions are quite easy, but I think compared to today's competition, we can expect a higher level of questions, good quality questions in MPhil clinical entrances from now on. Question number 23. Which software application is widely used for statistical analysis? SPSS. Statistical package for social sciences. Word you actually use for documentation. Excel is actually free and can be used for getting some inferences regarding the data that you have and drawing some inferences. And Adobe Photoshop, तो Photoshop के लिए यूज करेंगे ना हम. Why will we might use it for editing a few photos or whatnot. But the widely used statistical analysis is the SPSS. Next question is, what is the primary purpose of SPSS? It is very similar to the first question. A primary purpose will be data analysis. We want to analyze the data or the observations that we have and make inferences regarding it so that we can, write our results and share our findings. अगला क्वेश्चन अगेन SPSS का ही है. Which SPSS feature is commonly used for tabulating and representing data graphically? अगर हमें ग्राफ चाहिए तो we will be needing a chart builder जैसे बार ग्राफ या फिर पाई चार्ट और हिस्टोग्राम्स. All right. Question number 26. Which software is commonly used for data representation and tabulation and statistical calculation in research? Commonly used. Commonly हम Excel में ही use करते हैं because most of us are trying to collect data via Google Forms, and Google Forms में we directly get the sheet, or we can enter our data manually in Excel, and it is actually free to use. SPSS is paid in most of the cases. Question number 27. What is the significance of research in business? अगर हम कोई business कर रहे हैं तो do we actually do research? Yes, doing research in business actually provides us insights for decision making processes. Organizational research होती है, business related decisions हमें चाहिए होते हैं, whether we want to crack this deal, how we can crack this deal or whatnot. And even if we are doing some business, we should be well versed with our competitors. हमारे competitors market में कैसा perform कर रहे हैं, and how will our brand or our product will compete with that particular brand if they are selling the same thing. All right, so let's read the other options as well. It helps in generating profits only. Yes, it can help us to compete with other organizations in business, but not for only generating profits. We can actually understand that if we are doing the research, अगर हमारा एक product है, if it is not doing well, why it is not doing well, what went wrong, right? It is solely for academic purposes, not really. It can be used for practical purposes as well. It has no relevance in business. नहीं. So our most appropriate answer is, most plausible answer is B only. Moving on, we have question number 28. In which method does the researcher start with a theory and then test it with observations? पहले हम एक theory होती है हमारे पास, and then we test it with observations. It is the deductive reasoning. So the deductive reasoning, it works from the general theory or hypothesis to specific observations. जनरल से स्पेसिफिक है तो डिडक्टिव है, अगर स्पेसिफिक से जनरल है तो इंडक्टिव है. ये याद रखिए आप, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. मूविंग ऑन, क्वेश्चन नंबर 28. Which approach is commonly associated with qualitative research? Qualitative research में हम specific instances से generalize करना चाहते हैं अपनी findings, so we will have it as inductive reasoning. Experimental में we try to have cause and effect. And quantitative analysis, we are analyzing the quantitative data. Deductive reasoning, as I already told you, general theory से हम specific observations करते हैं. So herein, in which method does the researcher gather data and look for patterns and then generate a theory or hypothesis? We are gathering the data to look for certain patterns and then generate a theory or hypothesis. इसमें you can go for inductive reasoning as well, and I think according to the key that was given, B is also kind of appropriate. बट जैसे अगर हम डेटा गैदर करने हैं, स्पेसिफिक इंस्टेंसेस को देख रहे हैं, एंड देन वी आर जनरेटिंग आवर थ्योरी और द हाइपोथेसिस, दिस एक्चुअली कम्स अंडर ग्राउंडेड थ्योरी. ग्राउंडेड थ्योरी में ही आप एक्सप्लोरेटरी रिसर्च करते हैं. So I think both are actually correct. But if you have to go for the most plausible, I would say answer, I think go with the key. You can go with abductive reasoning, wherein the inference is the best explanation, and it is a process of starting with an observation. अगर हम डेटा गैदर कर रहे हैं, that we are doing with making certain observations, right? So we'll go with abductive reasoning only. Moving on, we have inductive reasoning is often used in which stage of research? Let me try to read the Hindi question as well. आ, आगमनात्मक तर्क का प्रयोग अक्सर शोध प्रक्रिया के किस चरण में किया जाता है? ओके, आई एम नॉट वेरी गुड विद हिंदी, but hey, this is for the Hindi. Psychology in Hindi is actually very, what do we say, tough to study. So we have question number 31, which is inductive reasoning is often used in which stage of research purposes? It is used for theory development. हम theory develop करना चाहते हैं. As described above, I told you that inductive reasoning actually builds theories from ground up by collecting data and making it central to theory development. Formulating a hypothesis can only be done after you have collected sufficient data and from the theory, which happens in deductive reasoning. Literature review, so you are just re-reviewing your theories that are already there, and you might cite them in your references or your literature review in your proposal or the research paper. Question number 32. Which method is characterized by moving from स्पेसिफिक ऑब्जर्वेशन से जनरल पे जा रहे हैं, एस से जी पे जा रहे हैं? इंडक्टिव रीजनिंग. 33. We have in deductive reasoning the validity of conclusion. If we are talking about validity, we are talking about soundness. So in a deductive argument, if the initial premise, which is our theory or the hypothesis, are actually true, अगर हमारा P1 true होता है, right, and the reasoning is logically valid, the conclusion must also be true. मतलब जो हमारा P2 है, अगर वो valid होता है तो जो हमारा conclusion है वो भी true ही होगा, right? So therefore the soundness of the starting theory is paramount. मतलब जो हमारी initial theory है, जो हमारा premise 1 है, it should be true, so it can be valid, which in turn makes our conclusion also valid, hence making the whole reasoning or the whole statement or the whole conclusion as sound. अगर आपका premise ट्रू होगा, अगर आपका premise valid होगा, तो आपका conclusion भी valid होगा. Then we have question number 34. What is the primary purpose of citing sources in research paper? We are giving credit to the original authors कि उन्होंने जो research करी है, हम सिर्फ उनकी statements use नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम बस उनकी research use नहीं कर रहे हैं. We are also giving them the credit that the hours they have put in developing the research. Alright, last but not the least, for section A, we have which of the following is not a form of plagiarism? Which of the following is not a form of plagiarism? Citation, if we are citing the original references or original work, इट इज़ द प्रैक्टिस ऑफ एक्नॉलेजिंग द सोर्स जहाँ से हमने लिया है ये पर्टिकुलर फ्रेज या पर्टिकुलर थ्योरी, एंड इट इज़ अ प्राइमरी मेथड यूज टू अवॉइड प्लेजरिज्म. Collusion is basically unauthorized collaboration. Patch writing क्या होती है? It is literally, or just slightly you are paraphrasing the source text. All right. And what exactly is ghost writing? Ghost writing is having someone else write your own paper and not giving them credit. So you're just putting in your name, and the whole work or the whole paper was actually written by someone else, and you're not giving credit for them. Even co-author भी नहीं रखा उनको आपने. So that is ghost writing. All right. Let's move on to the next few questions, which is section B. Section B में question number this is 36. 36. Who is known for his work on the concept of bounded rationality, which suggests that decision making is often constrained by factors such as limited information and cognitive resources. Herbert Simon, he introduced the concept of bounded rationality, arguing that हमारा जो human decision making है is limited to the available information only and cognitive resources and time. Alright, Gardner तो यहाँ पे he has given the theory of multiple intelligence. Alright, moving on, we have question number 37. Which area of the brain is primarily associated with consolidation of long-term memories? मतलब short term से long term memory we are trying to organize and form the memories and transferring them to short term memory से short memory नहीं short term memory. शॉर्ट टर्म से लॉन्ग टर्म में जाने के लिए कौन सा ब्रेन एरिया यूज होता है? द हिप्पोकैम्पस. इफ यू हैव वॉच्ड गजनी, हिज हिप्पोकैम्पस वाज एक्चुअली डैमेज्ड, hence he was having a short term memory loss. वो long term memory consolidate ही नहीं कर पाता था because his hippocampus was destroyed. Hence hippocampus is actually crucial for forming, organizing and consolidating the memories and transferring them from short term to long term storage. Amygdala आपका जो होता है बेसिकली फियर एंड एंगर रिस्पॉन्स. प्रीफ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स, higher order thinking skills. Cerebellum, people get confused between cerebellum and cerebrum. Cerebellum is actually used for balancing, uh, balance and coordination. All right, moving on to the next questions. Question number 38. Which approach to perception emphasizes the role of unconscious inference and probabilistic reasoning in interpreting sensory information? that is constructivist approach. It is associated with, Herman Helmholtz की theory है. I don't know if I am pronouncing this correctly. Helmholtz and Richard Gregory. So this actually posits that the perception is an active process of constructing models of reality based on the sensory input and prior knowledge. मतलब जो हमारी परसेप्शन है, इट इज़ एन एक्टिव प्रोसेस जो हमारी रियलिटी बेस्ड जो भी सेंसरी इनपुट और हमारी प्रायर नॉलेज होती है उनको मिला के बनती है, thus giving us an unconscious inference. ठीक है, last two questions for today. Which psychologist is associated with the concept of affordances? James G. Gibson. ये रहा ना हर्मन वन हेमहोल्ट्ज. वन हेमहोल्ट्ज किस लिए आते हैं अनकॉन्शियस इन्फ्लुएंसेस के लिए. ऑलराइट, एंड रिचर्ड ग्रेगरी इज द सेम. So James G. Gibson is the founder of ecological approach to perception, and he actually coined the term affordances to describe that all the action possibilities that an environment offers to an individual based on their capabilities. इधर यहाँ पे एक और कॉन्सेप्ट भी होता है डिजिटल अफोर्डेंसेस, वेयर इन वी गेट द अपॉर्चुनिटीज फॉर एक्शन. हम एक्शन क्या ले सकते हैं डिजिटल अफोर्डेंसेस. लाइक आई रिसेंटली डिड अ स्टडी ऑन इनफिडेलिटी एंड डेटिंग एप्स वेयर इन डिजिटल अफोर्डेंसेस केम इन. तो उसमें क्या होता है, वी आर एक्चुअली गेटिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज टू लुक फॉर मोर प्लॉजिबल ऑप्शंस, हेंस इंक्रीजिंग द चांसेस ऑफ इनफिडेलिटी अमंग यूथ. ऑलराइट, सो अफोर्डेंसेस इज बेसिकली आपको कितनी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल रही है फॉर from the environment to engage into a particular action. And lastly, we have question number 40. Question number 40 क्या कह रहा है? So according to Bayesian approach to perception, our perceptual experiences are influenced by हमारे perceptual experiences, they're actually influenced by our prior beliefs and sensory evidence. So the Bayesian approach is a computational theory of perception. Basically it proposes that जो हमारा brain है is a probabilistic inference engine. मतलब क्या प्रोबेबिलिटी हो सकती है, अगर हम ये करेंगे तो क्या होगा, अगर हम वो करेंगे तो क्या होगा. So our perception is not just a direct reflection of the sensory input, but it is the best guess कि क्या हो सकता है, that combines this incoming data with our prior beliefs. Your prior beliefs या फिर expectations हमारी क्या है about the world based on the past experience. पहले क्या हुआ था और आगे क्या होने वाला है. ठीक है, so the process of combining our prior experiences or prior knowledge with our current evidence is the core of this Bayesian approach. तो इसके लिए I'll just write it here that based on sensory evidence and prior beliefs, best guess theory आप इसको कह सकते हो. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be solving the rest of the paper in next videos. Till then, stay tuned and all the best for your preparations. You do not take stress. आपको स्ट्रेस लेने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. मतलब स्ट्रेस भी एक सर्टेन लेवल तक ही लीजिए, इतना कि ऑप्टिमल लेवल ऑफ स्ट्रेस आ जाए आपका, सो दैट यू परफॉर्म वेल इन योर एग्ज़ाम. आपकी प्रिपरेशन या फिर जो एग्ज़ाम स्ट्रेस है, इट शुड एक्ट एज अ यू स्ट्रेस. ठीक है, सो ऑल द बेस्ट and thank you. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe. Until then, bye bye.